Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope everyone is fine. Okay, today we are going to discuss the paper 2, first lesson, that is 12th lesson in history, that is democratic and nationalistic revolutions, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. So, what is democratic and nationalistic revolutions? Generally, we have seen a lot of different types of governments we have seen. In that, one of the good form of the government is democracy. How this is good democracy? Today we are used to the idea of democratic government. In democracy, we have fundamental rights, we have directive principles, and we have some citizens' rights and all. And before the law, everyone is equal. Law will treated equally to everyone. There is a social equality, there is a political equality, everything will be there in the democracy. And here they have given a lot of importance to the people, not for the rulers. Okay. So even Abraham Lincoln, right, 16th president of United States of America. Okay, 16th president of United States of America. Who is that? Abraham Lincoln. What he said about the democracy? What definition he has given about the democracy is, it is for the people, by the people, and of the people. For the people, by the people, and of the people. Of the people. That means that is for people, and that is formed by people, and that is only for the people. Okay, he has given such a definition about the democracy. So democracy is such a good form of government, and in olden days actually it was not there. In olden days we have a lot of aristocracy, monarch, isn't it? Aristocracy, monarchy government, these are all there. So at that time the rulers have given only importance for their ruling, and one man ruling, dictatorship, and aristocracy. A few persons, few families are ruling the country. So from that slowly it formed and transformed to the democratic democracy. So in democracy we have fundamental rights, we have directive principles, we have good citizen rights, and everyone is treated equally by law, and they have a lot of social equality, voting right, political equality, anyone can become the leader. So all these things are there in the democracy. That's why people everywhere, people finally, particularly 17th and 18th and 19th century, they were fought how to get democracy from different forms of government. So we are discussing about that today, and democratic and nationalistic revolutions, how they fought for democracy and all. So however, the kind of democracy was not there in olden times. In olden times, in 14th, 15th century, 16th century, there is no democracy, only aristocracy and monarchy. Monarchy governments are there. And so now we'll discuss about in England, how they fought for democratic government and how they achieved the democracy, and all we discuss in this chapter. First, that is in England, in Europe, England. Okay, here the countries were ruled by kings and emperors who made laws at their will. And actually in the aristocracy, the countries, they were ruled by the ruler, some rulers, and those rulers have a divine rights. What they think, always the God has given some powers to them as a king. So they have divine rights. Divine rights, the God has given some rights. That's why we are ruling the country. Like that, they have for their wish and will, they were ruling the country. And society was divided into estates, and each had its privilege. For example, society was divided into 3 or 4 types, and 4 estates, like rich people, kings, nobles, clergy people, like that. Different people were there, and they have their own privileges and obligations. And in this chapter, we will read about how people fought about the democracy, how they build political systems and achieve social equality in Europe, particularly in Europe and in England. In Europe, England was ruled by the kings Tudor dynasty. What dynasty? The Tudor dynasty kings were ruling at that time in the 17th century. And here there are two things. At the time of their actually whatever the religion should not involve in the political matters or involve in the administrative matters or ruling the people. But here there are two things. One is Tudor kings were ruling the country. At that time, the Roman Catholics, whoever the Christian people, higher officials in the Christian churches and all, those people are involved with the Tudor dynasty, and they have a lot of power. They had a lot of powers, and they are indirectly ruling the country. The Tudor dynasty, whoever the king is, he is a nominal. He is a puppet in the hands of the Roman Catholic churches. So here there are two things. Tudor kings refused to accept the authority of the Pope. The first thing is they completely refused to accept the power of the Pope. And the second thing, they thought that England should be independent of the Pope and Roman Catholic Church. Actually, they wanted king should be a supreme ruler, not they should not be puppets of the Roman Catholic Church. And that is one thing. And another new conflict is started between the parliament and the kings, who was more powerful in the kingdom. So here the parliament is there, parliament and kings. There is a conflict because at that time, how this conflict led the establishment of democratic government in England, we'll see. Actually, because the parliament will have some powers. So government, king, they did not accept that power, and how they fought and what is the, how the civil war happened in England, we'll see. England, the civil war, England and the civil war. And this is the first thing, civil war and the glorious revolution. The glorious revolution. Glorious revolution. That means how England got with the revolution, how they came into democratic government. In 1630 CE, what is CE? CE means common era. What is CE? Common era. In 1600 CE, James I became the king of Tudor's dynasty. James I. He was the king of the dynasty of England after the death of the last queen of Tudor dynasty. Last queen of Tudor dynasty, he became the king, and here the king needed to take permission for everything, for grant some impose any taxes or to grant some money and all. They have to take permission of the parliament. Permission of the parliament. But James I, he did not accept that parliament, and he did not want to parliament to give question him. He did not want to question, parliament should not question him. And he believed that absolute powers are given to the king by the God. That is called divine right theory. What is that? It is called divine right theory. In those times, the people thought that the kings were thought that it is a divine right, whatever powers they have given, that is called divine theory. What is meant by divine theory? The government, the king completely, whatever rights the king have absolute power, that power is given by God. They thought like that. And therefore he believed that the king should not be controlled by anybody, either parliament or church people or anybody. James I was succeeded by next Charles I. Charles it is, but actually we have to pronounce Charles. Charles I, and Charles I dissolved the and after James I, the Charles I came into throne. So Charles I dissolved the parliament for 11 years and without parliament. But in 1640, But in 1640 CE, Charles wants some money. Why? Because he wants to do some fights and wars. So he was forced to give summons. What is meant by summon? Summon means notice. Notice to the parliament. Summons means notice to the parliament for to get a special grants. Special grants. So what happened then? This parliament completely continued 1640 CE to 1660 CE. Completely the parliament also ruled the country. That's why it is called long parliament. Because 20 years they ruled 1640 to 1660. That's why it is called long parliament. Okay. Then this long parliament. This parliament continued say 1640 to 1660, that's why it's long parliament. And this parliament, long parliament decided to control the aristocracy, autocracy of the people, whoever the kings and finally and ministers. The parliament punished the ministers and officers of the Charles I. So a civil war started between the parliamentary group and the king's group. What is meant by civil war? Civil war means if it is a war between country to country, but civil war means within the country any two groups, either parliament group and king's group, or people or kings, like that. Any between two people, if it is war is going on within the country, then it is called civil war. So that civil war between the parliament and the kings war happened for 5 years, continuously for how many years? For 5 years. After that, finally Charles was defeated and executed in 1649, 1689, he was executed and England became the republic government was started. In 1688 CE, William of Orange and his wife, William of Orange came into throne. Who is this William Orange's wife? She is the granddaughter of Charles I. She is the granddaughter of Charles I. Granddaughter of Charles I. Charles I. Here now when they came into throne, what is the situation here? The parliament has taken complete powers and there are very limited powers have given to the king. So once upon a time there was an absolute powers and that is divine theory. So that theory is not there now and finally the parliament only according to parliament the king has to work and king had very limited powers. This was the beginning of the parliamentary democracy in England. Now the power of the king was not a divine right but it was granted by the parliament. It is only granted by the parliament. They did not have any absolute powers. This was called constitutional monarchy. This was called constitutional monarchy. All this took place without shedding took place without shedding a single drop of blood or it's not even shoot a single shot also. So this transformation is called glorious revolution or bloodless revolution. This is called glorious revolution or bloodless revolution in England. So next we will see about the American independence in the next chapter. Thank you.